Imagine this. It's April 6th, 2026, and exactly 14 hours ago, something extraordinary was recorded in Earth's upper atmosphere. NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center logged a fluctuation with a 0.001% chance of being natural. And the culprit? A cosmic interloper named 3 Atlas. What this object just did defies every atmospheric model scientists have. Picture a distant interstellar body, millions of kilometers away, supposedly obeying standard orbital mechanics, yet somehow interacting with Earth in ways that shouldn't be possible. As it crossed our orbital plane, 3 Atlas emitted a highly coherent, localized electromagnetic sweep. The precision of this signal implies intention-controlled, deliberate action. This isn't just random cosmic noise. At exactly 3:14 UTC, the European Space Agency's EOS-2 satellite recorded an unprecedented drop in stratospheric ozone density. A narrow 40 kilometers band, aligned perfectly with 3 Atlas's trajectory, showed a 14.7% reduction in molecular density in just 12 minutes. Simply put, billions of tons of stratospheric gas behaved as if a magnetic vacuum had been applied from millions of kilometers away. This is not theoretical, it's verifiable science. Dr. Thomas Zurbuchen, former Associate Administrator for NASA's Science Mission Directorate, called the correlation mathematically staggering. The odds that this was a random solar event occurring precisely when 3 Atlas aligned with Earth's magnetic pole? Roughly 1 in 8.4 billion. In decades of observing interstellar objects, nothing remotely like this has been seen. Observatories around the world scrambled to verify the phenomenon. ALMA's Band 7 receivers in Chile and Hubble's Wide Field Camera 3 began recalibrating to track the atmosphere's recovery. Every observation confirmed the same fact. 3 Atlas is not a passive visitor. It interacts directly with our environment, testing the protective layers that shield our planet. And this is just the beginning. To understand the anomaly, we must trace its origin. 3 Atlas is officially the 3rd confirmed interstellar visitor after Oumuamua and Borisov. Detected on February 11, 2026, by South Africa's Asteroid Terrestrial Impact Last Alert System, it was first catalogued as a rogue comet, but from the outset, it defied expectations. Its velocity, 87.63 kilometers per second, didn't match a purely gravitational path. Even stranger, it emitted energy inconsistent with frozen ice or carbon sublimation. Imagine a supposedly inert rock radiating power like an active reactor. Then the anomalies began. On April 2nd, NASA's Ionospheric Connection Explorer detected a sudden, massive compression in the mesosphere. A column of air 120 kilometers wide over the northern Pacific showed a 9.4% increase in atmospheric pressure. Independently, ESA's swarm satellites recorded severe magnetic shear in the exact same location, and ALMA confirmed the distortion using high-frequency millimeter waves. 3 independent systems, 3 different methodologies, identical results. Earth's atmosphere was being manipulated by a precise, invisible force from deep space. The level of targeting here is staggering. Imagine using a magnifying glass to burn a single blade of grass from miles away while both you and the grass are moving at thousands of miles per hour. That's the precision 3 Atlas is demonstrating. And this is only the start. 24 hours later, April 3rd, a second anomaly struck. The temperature in the same 120 kilometers column dropped 43 degrees Celsius in just 4 seconds. Natural processes cannot account for this rapid energy removal. Experts like Dr. Avi Low at Harvard described the phenomenon as resembling an artificial dampening field rather than natural cometary outgassing. The pattern is clear. First compression, then thermal manipulation, and finally ozone depletion. Each step is more precise and improbable than the last. Now, let's examine what makes this escalation truly unprecedented. By April 4th, we were observing 3 consecutive atmospheric anomalies, each synchronized perfectly with the rotation of 3 Atlas. The object spins exactly once every 7.2 hours, and every 7.2 hours, a new pulse strikes the same atmospheric column. Conventional science might suggest a rare magnetic alignment between an iron-rich comet and Earth's polar fields. But the data says otherwise. The electromagnetic pulses aren't random, they carry repeating internal structures, mathematically precise, and far too organized to be chaotic natural emissions. Consider this. 99.8% of known comets emit broad, chaotic noise across radio frequencies. 3 Atlas, however, emits a narrowband frequency precisely at 1,420 MHz. For radio astronomers, this is significant. That frequency corresponds to the hydrogen line, the so-called universal quiet zone, theorized as the communication channel intelligent civilizations might use to transmit across interstellar space. And it's not just emitting, it's interacting. April 4th, 2026, 1842, UTC, NASA's JWST NIRCam recorded an unprecedented thermal emission from the core of 3 Atlas. This spike in energy wasn't predicted by any cometary or interstellar model. Imagine spinning a top on a wooden table. Natural friction slows it down gradually, but 3 Atlas behaves differently. It accelerates, corrects its wobble, emits a precise magnetic field, and targets a microscopic area of our stratosphere, all while 240 million kilometers away. From a physics standpoint, the natural laws we rely on break down. NASA's magnetospheric multiscale mission confirms what no human-made satellite should be able to: a tightly braided magnetic flux tube connecting the core of 3 Atlas directly to Earth's northern stratosphere. Picture a stable magnetic bridge spanning millions of kilometers of empty space. Inside that tube, stratospheric ozone is siphoned at 14,000 kilograms per second. That's not hypothetical, this is verified, observed, and calculated. Here's the kicker. Naturally, outgassing comets lose mass as they expel material. But deep space spectroscopy from the KEK Observatory in Hawaii shows 3 Atlas has lost 0 mass while maintaining this interplanetary tether. Generating a magnetic flux tube of this magnitude without consuming mass violates every known principle of physics. The odds of a naturally occurring comet achieving this, aligning with Earth's stratospheric resonance, and maintaining its trajectory with such precision? A statistical impossibility. It's like flipping a coin and landing it on its edge 10,000 times in a row. The object's trajectory adds another layer of mystery. At T-minus 48 hours to closest approach, ESA's Gaia spacecraft recorded a sudden, non-gravitational acceleration. 3 Atlas increased velocity by 4.22 kilometers per second without any visible tail, coma, or dust emission. Picture a massive rocky bullet in the vacuum of space, accelerating without ejecting matter, a complete violation of Newton's third law. Even veteran astronomers at the Max Planck Institute publicly questioned the mechanical structure of its thermal signature. This is no ordinary comet. By April 4th, the extraction process had intensified. Initially, the affected atmospheric column was 120 kilometers wide. Within 24 hours, the beam narrowed to just 40 kilometers, forming a perfectly circular, geometrically precise patch in the ozone layer. Unlike a chaotic solar storm, this isn't jagged or irregular. It maintains structure against violent jet stream winds exceeding 2,000 miles per hour. The ionization requires exact energy input. Even a minor deviation would collapse the magnetic tube. Yet it holds steady, indicating a level of control and engineering beyond natural processes. By now, the implications are unavoidable. We know the object is solid. It emits a precise 1,420 MHz signal. It tethers itself to Earth's magnetic field, and it manipulates its velocity without mass loss. But the situation escalates further. At 2114 UTC, KEK Observatory's high-resolution shell spectrometer detected something unprecedented. 3 Atlas is not just extracting ozone, it's processing it. Heavy metallic signatures, including refined titanium and 50 rare isotopes, are being emitted from the trailing edge. These elements don't naturally form in the temperatures or conditions of a cometary body. In effect, 3 Atlas is using Earth's atmosphere as fuel for a localized high-energy reaction, propelling itself with a process that defies all known astrophysics. If this is natural, our understanding of cosmology collapses. If artificial, we are witnessing an interstellar machine, actively harvesting planetary resources from Earth itself. By April 4, 2026, the situation had reached an unprecedented level. Within just 4 hours, NASA and the Department of Defense initiated a total blackout on all public-facing telemetry from the Deep Space Network. In 6 decades of space exploration, this had never happened for a comet. The immediate action alone signals the absolute magnitude of what we're witnessing. 3 Atlas was no longer a distant curiosity. It had become an active interstellar manipulator, interacting with Earth's atmosphere in real time. Telemetry from classified briefings reveals the next layer of complexity. The object is not merely siphoning ozone, it is accelerating chemical processing, transforming the extracted atmospheric oxygen into high-energy reactions along its trajectory. Heavy metals, including titanium and dozens of rare isotopes, are being expelled from the trailing edge of the object, clearly indicating a controlled process rather than random outgassing. For natural physics to explain this, one would have to assume the existence of entirely new laws of stellar nucleosynthesis and cometary chemistry laws that have never been observed or theorized. The orbital calculations compound the mystery. 3 Atlas is preparing to decelerate. This is critical. Observatories, including the European Space Agency's Gaia and NASA's Deep Space Network, confirm a significant reduction in velocity in advance of the closest approach. The deceleration is not a byproduct of gravitational forces, drag, or mass loss. It is actively controlled, and it aligns perfectly with the object's rotation and energy pulses. This level of precision in deep space suggests intelligent guidance rather than random celestial mechanics. Now consider the electromagnetic tether connecting the object to Earth's northern stratosphere. At 1,420 MHz, the frequency is exact, the energy transmission perfectly stable, and the atmospheric extraction highly focused. Over the previous 48 hours, the affected area contracted from 120 kilometers to 40 kilometers, forming a geometrically flawless circular zone in the ozone layer. For comparison, a solar storm of equivalent energy would blanket thousands of kilometers chaotically. 3 Atlas, however, operates with surgical precision, targeting and manipulating molecular oxygen on an almost unimaginably small scale relative to its distance. The object's capabilities escalate further when examining the fusion-like processing it performs. Atmospheric oxygen is not merely removed. It is converted through high-energy reactions into a propulsion mechanism, allowing 3 Atlas to generate thrust without consuming mass. Deep space spectroscopy from Hawaii's KEK Observatory confirms that the object's mass remains unchanged while sustaining enormous electromagnetic output and chemical processing. No natural celestial body behaves in this manner. The object is a machine with energy sources far beyond human comprehension. Every step of the anomaly points to deliberate testing and measurement. First, the atmospheric compression and ozone extraction, then the controlled thermal drops, and now the chemically processed exhaust. It's as if 3 Atlas is conducting an experiment, observing the reaction of Earth's atmosphere to its interventions. The precision is unnerving. Each pulse, each extraction, each acceleration or deceleration, all synchronized with its rotation and trajectory. We are watching intelligence in motion across millions of kilometers. The scale of energy involved is staggering. Maintaining a tether across 240 million kilometers, stabilizing an electromagnetic flux tube, ionizing billions of kilograms of stratospheric ozone per second, and then processing that material into a propulsion output all without mass loss, requires a power source beyond our technology by orders of magnitude. We are witnessing energy manipulation on a planetary and interplanetary scale. This is not a comet. It is a construction platform, a harvester, and potentially a delivery mechanism. And yet, the final, most unsettling observation is the trajectory itself. 3. Atlas is not merely passing through the solar system. All deceleration data, all tether alignment, and all orbital calculations indicate it intends to remain within our system, at least temporarily. The path of this object intersects with Earth's stratosphere with deliberate accuracy. Every pulse, every energy tether, every processing event points toward preparation, not casual observation. Whatever this object is, it is actively shaping its environment, not coasting passively through the vacuum of space. The implications are profound. 3 Atlas is harvesting material from Earth, manipulating its atmosphere, generating propulsion without mass loss, and maintaining a precise, high-energy electromagnetic connection across millions of kilometers. It is effectively testing our planet while demonstrating capabilities that transcend known physics. This is no natural comet. This is an interstellar machine operating with deliberate intent, and it is preparing for something whose scale and purpose we cannot yet comprehend. By April 5, 2026, the global network of observatories had locked on, and every new data point was more staggering than the last. The atmospheric extraction beam from 3 Atlas continued to focus with terrifying precision. Initially, the affected stratospheric column measured 120 kilometers in width. Within 24 hours, the zone had narrowed to just 40 kilometers, forming a mathematically perfect circle in the ozone layer. This wasn't random. It was targeted, calculated, and actively maintained. The beam cut through Earth's upper atmosphere like a scalpel, unaffected by the chaotic winds of the jet stream or fluctuations in magnetic fields. The precision is so remarkable that even minor deviations would have caused the structure to collapse, but it remained flawless. Telemetry reveals the energy dynamics are staggering. The magnetic tether connecting 3 Atlas to Earth's stratosphere remains perfectly stable over 240 million kilometers of space. Inside this conduit, billions of kilograms of molecular oxygen and ozone are being ionized and processed at rates previously thought impossible. Spectroscopic analysis confirms the extracted material isn't simply expelled, it undergoes a high-energy reaction, producing a propulsion effect while leaving the object's mass completely unchanged. The idea of a celestial body maintaining a directed energy flux, processing atmospheric material for thrust without consuming internal mass, defies conventional astrophysics. The implications are immediate and profound. This object is not passing through our solar system as a passive visitor. It is actively interacting with Earth, testing our planet's defenses, and demonstrating technological capabilities that exceed anything humanity has achieved. It is an intelligent, functioning machine, capable of manipulating molecular structures, generating electromagnetic tethers, and exerting influence across interplanetary distances. Every observation, every measurement, every anomaly points to deliberate intent. April 5th also marked the first time 3 Atlas energy output began synchronizing with the rotation of Earth. The object rotates once every 7.2 hours, and with each rotation, a new pulse hits the same atmospheric column. These pulses are no longer random disturbances. They are part of a coherent sequence, an iterative interaction designed to measure, extract, and test the limits of our stratosphere. Researchers note that the extracted ozone is removed at exactly 14,000 kilograms per second, while the energy input remains constant, maintaining the tether and stabilizing the extraction zone. In simpler terms, this is a precisely calibrated experiment conducted across millions of kilometers. Simultaneously, the process material shows consistent chemical patterns. Titanium isotopes, rare heavy metals, and high-energy molecular byproducts are expelled in a controlled exhaust trail. These observations suggest 3 Atlas is using Earth's atmosphere as a resource, converting it into energy for propulsion while maintaining full structural integrity. For natural physics to explain this, one would have to assume an entirely new kind of cometary mechanism, one that violates conservation laws, mass-energy relationships, and our understanding of thermodynamics. Simply put, this cannot occur naturally. The strategic positioning of 3 Atlas adds another layer to the mystery. The object hovers at the optimal altitude for interacting with the stratosphere while remaining outside the range of direct physical contact. The electromagnetic tether acts as both a conduit and a stabilizer, ensuring the extraction process is controlled, efficient, and continuous. The precision is so extreme that even slight deviations would be detectable in telemetry, yet the readings show perfect consistency across all instruments, satellites, and ground-based observatories. Equally alarming is the global response required to monitor this phenomenon. NASA, the Department of Defense, the European Space Agency, and dozens of observatories have shifted critical resources solely to track 3 Atlas. Normally, interstellar objects pass unnoticed, cataloged as minor celestial events. In this case, every measurement is prioritized, every observation is verified, and every anomaly is cross-referenced independently. The consensus among experts is unanimous. This object is not natural, and its behavior cannot be explained by conventional astrophysics. Now, consider the implications for planetary security and science. An interstellar machine capable of targeting, extracting, and processing atmospheric components with surgical precision represents an entirely new category of celestial encounter. It is no longer a question of observation, it is a question of direct interaction. The object's focus on a specific 40-kilometer column in the stratosphere, combined with its ability to process and repurpose atmospheric material for propulsion, suggests it has a deliberate agenda. The question becomes, why Earth? The energy manipulation is undeniably sophisticated, the trajectory carefully controlled, and the timing of each pulse meticulously calculated. This is not passive exploration, it is a study, a test, and potentially preparation for larger operations. 3 Atlas is demonstrating capabilities, probing vulnerabilities, and establishing a presence without physically touching the surface. Every metric, from magnetic flux stability to ozone extraction rates, points to intention, design, and intelligence far beyond our comprehension. As April 5th closes, the global scientific community is forced to grapple with the reality that we are witnessing a fundamentally new type of interstellar encounter, one that challenges physics, chemistry, and planetary defense simultaneously. The extraction beam continues, the tether remains unbroken, and the processed exhaust confirms advanced energy utilization. The object is preparing something, but the purpose remains unknown. Humanity is observing, analyzing, and recalibrating, but the data suggests that 3 Atlas is already operating on a timeline beyond our control. By April 6, 2026, the extraction beam had tightened even further. What began as a 120-kilometer-wide atmospheric column was now focused into a razor-sharp 20-kilometer diameter zone. forming a geometrically perfect circle in the ozone layer. Satellites monitoring the event, including NASA's ICON, ESA's Swarm constellation, and the ALMA Observatory, reported unprecedented stability. The beam maintains structural integrity even as the surrounding jet streams and geomagnetic turbulence threaten to distort it. This is no longer merely an anomaly, it is a controlled, sustained operation. Each pulse is perfectly synchronized with 3 Atlas's rotation, arriving precisely every 7.2 hours, a schedule that suggests deliberate timing and intent. Energy calculations from telemetry are staggering. To maintain a magnetic tether spanning over 240 million kilometers, stabilize a high-intensity extraction beam, and process billions of kilograms of stratospheric gas without consuming mass, requires energy beyond anything humanity has generated. Theoretical models suggest that 3 Atlas must be harnessing energy on a scale comparable to planetary or even stellar levels. For context, Earth's entire global energy consumption would be insignificant relative to what this object is using to manipulate our atmosphere. There is simply no known natural mechanism capable of this. Spectroscopic analysis from the KEK Observatory in Hawaii confirmed what had long been suspected. The extracted atmospheric material is undergoing a high-energy transformation within the object. Oxygen, ozone, and even trace nitrogen molecules are being converted into high-energy plasma, while rare isotopes, such as titanium-50, are expelled as exhaust. This isn't random outgassing. It's a precise energy conversion process designed to generate thrust or power the object. Despite processing massive quantities of gas, 3 Atlas shows zero mass loss. In short, it is pulling energy directly from the extracted material without depleting itself, a feat that defies known physics. The trajectory of 3 Atlas is equally perplexing. During the last 48 hours, ESA's Gaia and NASA's Deep Space Network observed subtle non-gravitational accelerations, minor course corrections, and sudden deceleration events that cannot be explained by solar radiation pressure or natural outgassing. These movements are precise, calculated, and occur without any detectable mass ejection. The object moves as though it is piloted by a sophisticated intelligence, adjusting its position to maintain optimal alignment with Earth's stratosphere. Global observatories are now operating under unprecedented coordination. NASA, ESA, JAXA, and even military space assets are dedicating critical resources to track every pulse, every shift in the magnetic tether, and every oscillation in the extraction beam. High-frequency measurements show that the beam is tuned to the 1,420 MHz hydrogen line, the so-called quiet frequency in interstellar communication theory. This is the same frequency scientists have long speculated advanced civilizations would use to signal or manipulate targets across the cosmos. 3 Atlas isn't just acting on physics, it's operating on a frequency that implies purpose, structure, and intelligence. The focus of concern now extends beyond observation to planetary defense and resource security. If this object is capable of precisely extracting ozone and oxygen from our atmosphere, converting it into propulsion, and doing so without mass loss, then it represents a technology entirely beyond human capability. For scientists, the realization is both awe-inspiring and unnerving. This is not a passive comet, it is a machine, engineered for deliberate, directed action. The implications for Earth, Mars, and the wider solar system are profound. At the same time, the data suggests that 3 Atlas's activity is escalating. The extraction pattern is tightening, the magnetic tether is showing increasing stability, and the processed exhaust is becoming more focused. Scientists note that the rate of ozone ionization has remained constant at 14,000 kilograms per second, but the beam's narrowing implies a dramatic increase in energy density. In other words, The object is concentrating its power, testing the upper limits of the stratosphere's resilience. Every measurement indicates deliberate calibration, a level of precision